When entering a ghost story, data transmission and communication usually become impossible, isolating the participants. This is the typical structure of a ghost story. But stories become more interesting when there is interaction and conflict. I vaguely remember reading in a ghost story that some teams have a disposable item that allows for emergency communication. Is this button one of those? While my mind raced to deduce the situation, my mouth started talking immediately. Time was of the essence.
Are you the leader of D-Squad? I'm Kim Soleum, the new recruit in D-Squad. I have something urgent to report. In 30 minutes, all of D-Squad will be dead.
Even if the other person was startled, it couldn't be helped. This was the most efficient way. I needed to calm him down and explain.
I'll take a 5-minute briefing.
Sure, mass deaths are a routine occurrence in the field exploration team, but this is a bit... Is there something wrong with his humanity? I almost got confused, but the situation was urgent, so I let it go. I quickly summarized everything that had happened so far.
There was an anomaly during the D-Class Darkness Tuesday talk show.
I explained about the members of another squad who had intruded mid-show, the quiz show's sudden cancellation, and the insane choir segment that had just begun.
How many employees are left?
3 out of 7 remain. All of D-Squad is still alive, but once the break ends, we'll all be dead.
The D-Squad leader responded concisely.
Buy yourself another 30 minutes.
Is that even possible?
I don't think that's feasible.
In that case, there's nothing we can do.
He has a knack for enraging people who are about to die in less than 30 seconds. I don't have time to waste on this nonsense. It's true that the higher you go in the field exploration team, the more some employees seem to lack basic morality or common sense, but experiencing it firsthand is truly infuriating. Does he think his team members' lives are a joke? I was about to hang up and figure things out on my own when...
What would change if we had 30 more minutes?
Why did he ask for more time?
If you could hold off until 55 minutes from now, I could get approval from the security team and rent the strongest weapons and entry devices.
His low voice explained calmly.
The entire process, even if handled retroactively, would take about 40 minutes, and it would take an additional 15 to 20 minutes to enter the darkness.
If that process is completed, could D-Squad be rescued?
A field exploration team member capable of entering an A-class darkness alone and suppressing the supernatural phenomenon using special equipment. The only people capable of that would be... The person I was talking to had to be one of the employees I'd read about in the... Someone with a significant or memorable role. Chills ran down my spine. Several candidates flashed through my mind. My brain was spinning.
Stealing equipment from the security team. Yeah, that's impossible.
The security team's operations are heavily restricted to maintain narrative coherence in the ghost stories, and their security is airtight. It's true that such an act would be impossible based on the rules. But if this person really is one of the employees, I think he is. There might be a way. I swallowed nervously and asked.
May I ask what mask you wear, sir?
If he said the nickname I was thinking of. We had 20 minutes left.
Based on what you've told me, I've come up with a plan.
Break time was almost over. Holding a water bottle from the waiting room, I returned to the talk show set. Human. Number 2. Human. Human. Against the backdrop of 2 employees who had been exposed to schwa practice for several minutes, and whose complexions had drastically worsened, the host with the old TV for a head extended his hand toward me.
Are you feeling better? Ready to create the best broadcast ever!
Yes, thank you for your consideration.
Ha ha ha! A contestant's condition is key to delivering the best moments on the show!
His tone was surprisingly friendly, considering the host's previous behavior. It seemed the smiley sticker's effect was still active. So far, things are going as expected. I carefully chose my next words.
You really put a lot of passion and energy into this show, Mr. Host. I think that's why you always make such captivating broadcasts.
Perhaps it was the most extreme situation, but flattery was coming out of my mouth effortlessly, without a trace of shame.
Such high praise! But a broadcast is something everyone creates together. Mr. Oh Dear, you are a part of that too!
No, that's not the direction I was going for.
I appreciate your kind words, But there's no comparing me to you, the one who leads this great talk show.
This was the direction I needed.
But I was surprised that the format of the show changed without notice to someone as important as you. There's no live audience, we're using recorded applause, the punishments are gone. Even the band has fewer members.
I recalled the black and white broadcast posters in the waiting room. They were all talk shows with live audiences, where real-time communication was part of the experience. If that waiting room was the host's personal space, there's a good chance the host doesn't new format.
It feels like the changes were made to cut costs across the board.
There was a risk of being beheaded if the host misinterpreted my comment as an insult to the talk show. But staying silent would lead to death anyway. I glanced back, pretending to look at the stage, and managed to continue speaking. The conductor with the dead pig's head.
Could the reason for this revamp be that it cost a lot to book that guest over there?
The emoticon on the host's TV screen disappeared, but it soon returned with a smiling emoticon.
That's none of the contestants' concern!
Honestly, I'm so scared I haven't even properly looked at that pig-headed creature.
I was just such a huge fan of the Tuesday quiz show and was really looking forward to participating. I must have said something rude, because I was disappointed by its cancellation.
Ah, what a kind thing to say! But show business is ruthless.
The host's TV screen quietly turned black.
If the viewers prefer this format, then as an entertainer, it's my job to adapt quickly to what they want!
But isn't it still uncertain how the viewers feel? At least for me, I preferred the old format. The real-time interaction with the audience and the excitement of the live Tuesday quiz show. To change the show so abruptly, without even discussing it with the host. Never mind. I'm sorry. I've spoken out of turn.
I pretended to hesitate, then added,
I had a lot of fun earlier during the live broadcast. My heart was racing, and it was quite exciting.
The host stood silently. The TV screen made a faint static noise.
There are only 60 seconds left before filming resumes.
At the sound of the alert filling the set, the emoticon returned.
All right, everyone, let's give it our all until the end. Mr. Roe dear, you should get back to your podium. We're starting. 10, 9, 8.
The host resumed the countdown, looking into the camera as usual. But it seemed like my conversation had left an impression, as he didn't seem as entranced by the camera as before. The groundwork had been laid. I nodded to the host and headed back to my podium.
It's finally time to give your answer. Will Mr. Badger become a proud member of the choir?
Supervisor Park Min-seong seemed to have come to terms with his fate, his expression bitter but resigned. I saw him mouthing something quickly at me. What was he saying? Thanks for helping me get prepared. No, wait. Let me talk too. I mouthed the words back.
Give the correct answer.
Supervisor Park looked at me as if I were insane. Being incinerated is probably better than becoming a living instrument that repeats the last thing you said before your head was cut off. But this was necessary. Supervisor Park, still confused, shook his head and glanced at Assistant Manager Yoon.
Mr. Badger, you have 3 seconds.
Yes, I'll give my answer.
Supervisor Park squeezed his eyes shut and shouted.
I'll answer.
In the corner of the stage where the lights had gone out, something appeared. The strange postcard we used to enter this place. I remembered the conversation I had with Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun just before.
So, Section Chief, you're saying we can use that equipment to access the ghost story through an object?
Yes. However, the equipment I have is for emergency supply drops, only for delivering small items into the darkness.
That's enough. Let's use it.
I looked at the postcard. It quietly fell to the floor from the shadows where the light didn't reach. And then, with terrifying speed, a small AAA battery shot out from it. The battery shot toward the ominous conductor with tremendous force, closing the distance in an instant. It struck one of the silver trays.
Throw it with all your might, sir.
The thick tray crumpled as if pierced by the battery. The sheer physical force was unbelievable. I recalled the description of Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun from the records.
Final position, team leader. One of the few combat specialists in the field exploration team. Known for solving ghost stories, which usually require wit and strategy, by brute force. Quote, Shouldn't it normally be that the brain has to work harder if the body's terrible? Conversely, when his brute force doesn't work, it signifies that true doom is upon you.
If we had tried to attack the pighead conductor directly, I might have experienced that doom firsthand. He's a staff member with a physical exorcism works in ghost stories gimmick, so I thought it might work. The tray was almost punctured, leaving a deep dent. Despite sweating profusely, I couldn't help but smile in satisfaction.
Wow, Mr. Badger, that's the correct answer.
Normally, this would be the point where the correct contestant's head would be ripped off and added to the choir on another silver tray. But the conductor's reaction to his precious instrument being damaged. The dead pig opened its mouth wide. Its decaying flesh tore apart, and its jaw dislocated unnaturally. The canned applause abruptly cut off, leaving the atmosphere confused and disjointed.
It seems our guest is thinking of a new way to perform. I wonder what brilliant method they're coming up with. My heart is racing!
The pig began to scream. The split mouth emitted a horrific sound.
The contestant is waiting. Mr. Conductor, please welcome him into the choir.
A terrifying scream rose in my throat. What did I just do? What kind of horrific mistake have I made? Did you see the worm that spawned from the ground? How I want to sing. How I made the wrong choice. Judgment indeed. Praise to the silver throne. Death. The band's sound drowned out the scream. Red spots appeared on the podium. But I had to cover my ears. I had to block out the sound. But the band's sound was fading away.
Do not respect the show!
The grand and ominous guest at the center of the stage burst into black flames and turned to ash. It was a scene I had seen many times before. A punishment the host carried out autonomously. In the D-class darkness known as the Tuesday Quiz Show, this was the fate of any contestant who disrupted the broadcast. Did a D-class darkness incinerate an A-class darkness entirely? Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. All I intended was for the host to lose his temper at the guest's incompetence, causing today's broadcast to be cut short.
As expected, the essence of a show isn't in flashy guests, but in staying true to its core.
The staff, the lights, the band, the recording equipment, the cameras. All of them were burning and turning to ash. Only the host's old TV screen flickered with color, glowing brightly.
The joy of witnessing, the thrill of communication, the excitement of unpredictable developments, anticipation. You creators don't understand that. You don't deserve to make shows, but I do. I can make them.
The host raised his arms majestically, like a liberator.
Thank you. You've given me a new vision. My mind feels so clear. Ah, yes. From now on, I'll accept participants for the show on different days of the week.
The host stared directly at me.
I can tell. You have the talent of a show creator. I hope you join the crew of my new talk show as well, Mr. Rodeer! Mr. Rodeer! New participants, a new set, new music, a new season. I'll invite you when the filming is ready! It's such a pity today's broadcast had to end this way, but your passionate participation was very impressive. Let's meet again in the next show!
Beyond my blurring vision, I saw the suited figure with a TV for a head wave as he disappeared. I realized I was sitting on a brightly lit, quiet office sofa. Supervisor Park and the assistant manager Yoon, both bleeding from their noses and ears, were staring at me with dumbfounded expressions.
You amazing bastard, you crazy idiot!
Amid the shower of cheers and hugs, I slid down onto the sofa. But that wasn't the end. Supervisor Park, still hugging me, quickly pulled something out of my suit pocket. It was the Dream Essence Collector. It was filled with golden liquid. Unlike the time when I cleared the F-class ghost story, this time, the color was...
Ro, you cleared an A-class darkness after just 2 days on the job.
A new employee on their third day at Goyongan cautiously sat down at her desk, just as lunch break was ending. This self-taught medical professional who hadn't even taken the state exam believed she was adjusting well to the situation. Her superiors in the R Squad weren't particularly warm, but they weren't overly territorial, nor did they push her into life-threatening situations. Most importantly, she had successfully cleared 2 F-class ghost stories so far. Didn't they say the average for new recruits was 1 or 2 per week? Clearing 2 in 3 days, even if they were low-level darkness, wasn't bad for a rookie. She was doing her absolute best to adapt to this insane company. After clearing 2, I only got 66 points. How in the world will I ever get to 500,000? But giving up wasn't an option. I'm going to do it. Go. Yongyun steeled her resolve. Are the other rookies feeling the same? She absent-mindedly looked at her phone. At the top of her Kakao Talk messenger, there was a pinned group chat.
Daydream Inc. New Hires group chat.
It was a chat room for all the new recruits. However, one person had yet to be invited. It wasn't because he was being excluded. No one had his contact information. That person was none other than the top recruit, Kim Soleum. We should invite him too. Even Baek Deok-soo, the well-known figure, was already in the chat room, but strangely, none of them had ever run into Kim Soleum in the company, so they hadn't had a chance to inform him. It made sense to be curious about what kind of intense first 2 days he had gone through. Should I try contacting him through the company messenger? She connected to the intranet and began searching for Kim Soleum to send him a message. That's when it happened. Suddenly, the group chat exploded with notifications.
Did you see the announcement just now?
Does anyone know Kim Soleum personally?
He's the top recruit, right? Did he seriously clear an A-class ghost story as a major contributor?
Was Kim Soleum the one wearing that weird horned mask?
Wow, Ro, someone from upper management is saying you should be promoted to supervisor right away.
I nearly choked on my medicine.
But apparently it got immediately blocked because some people from other departments are foaming at the mouth in opposition, saying it's unprecedented.
Should I have said I was disappointed? But I wasn't disappointed at all, so that was the limit of my response. I set the empty medicine bottle down and rubbed my chest. We had narrowly escaped from the Tuesday quiz show that had transformed into an A-class ghost story, and we were now being treated in the infirmary, taking emergency medication. After all, we'd been bleeding from our facial orifices. It seemed the medicine was effective. Though the medicine from always seemed suspicious, the regular first aid meds were just exceptionally good at what they did. Darkness. You know, those bizarre creatures from urban legends. This is the kind of recovery medicine you take when you suffer supernatural damage from them. In other words, it was like a health potion in these ghost stories. It was probably sold as cherry aid flavor at the Collaboration Cafe near the pop-up store. But the actual taste was just like cold syrup. Anyway, it feels unreal that I'm alive and drinking a potion. Everything felt great now that we had escaped, living in the bright daylight. It's really such a good thing. But it seemed like my superiors were more concerned about something other than our sense of relief. How had this situation been reported and handled by the higher-ups? They were busily tapping into every network they had to figure it out.
Honestly, this was an unprecedented special situation. I wish the squad leader had been more assertive in pushing the issue, but he's really not that kind of person.
Please do it when you get promoted later, assistant manager.
I'll quit before then.
I really want to say that as well. Amidst a strange sense of camaraderie, we each collapsed onto the infirmary beds. Supervisor Park Min-seong stretched and let out a sigh. It was a long sigh of relief.
I really thought I was going to die, but living is definitely better. Hey, Ro, thank you.
No, I just did my best.
Honestly, the wiki did all the work for me. If I tried to explain any further, the conversation would shift toward something uncomfortable, like, we were all about to die, but you were smart and did well, so I just stayed silent.
We're not that incompetent as seniors, but we let our guard down because it was categorized as D-class.
Assistant manager, that excuse sounds a bit pathetic.
Well, then we'll prove ourselves in the next darkness.
I just hope there won't be a next darkness. The peaceful, paid rest time didn't last long.
The section chief said the meeting is over. He's coming to the infirmary.
Assistant Manager Yoon, holding her smartphone, shot up. Supervisor Park quickly stood up as well, so I instinctively followed suit. Am I finally going to see him in person? Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun, Employee D, nickname Lizard. One of the most famous employees of In-the. There were even rumors that, due to his popularity, the company was working on a character design for him. Honestly, I was a bit curious. What kind of person could he be? Judging by the conversation we had when I pressed the call button, he didn't seem like an ordinary person. But considering his super play with the AAA battery shot, everything about him seemed almost glorified.
The door is open. Come in, squad leader.
The infirmary door opened. Standing there was a tall figure. Dressed in a perfectly fitted black suit and even wearing an employee ID, he looked every bit the classic, polished office worker. Finally, the appearance of Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun, the named Employee D from the... No, not a mask, but literally, He literally has a lizard head. No, that can't be right. I must be suffering from some kind of mental breakdown due to excessive stress, leaving an afterimage of that TV-headed host in my mind. That's it, right? My brain is mistaking someone wearing a mask for a real lizard head. Now that I look closer, there's a mask hanging at his waist. Oh, I'm going to lose it.
It's really so great to see you that I'm about to cry.
Please, come in, squad leader.
Why is everyone so calm? If a lizard in a suit is going to appear, shouldn't there at least be a warning to the new recruits, like, don't be shocked? Why is everyone acting as a normal meet and greet?
This over here is Ro Deer, sir. And Ro, this is Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Wow, Ro looks like he's shocked by how handsome the section chief is. Haha, like he doesn't even look like he's the same species as us.
Can you please clarify if this is just office banter or a hint for social survival? The white lizard head turned toward me expressionlessly. Its red reptilian vertical pupils glinted.
What do you mean? Oh no, I didn't hurt my eyes. My vision is fine.
I was impressed by my own quick thinking. The white reptilian head turned away with a faint hiss. Please stop this, for real. This world is too unfair if you have to suffer even after escaping a ghost story. But I wasn't about to say a word. Judging by the atmosphere, it was clear I wasn't supposed to see the lizard head. Everyone else must be seeing a normal human face. Blend in, don't stand out. I would never show any suspicious reaction toward this walking human. No, lizard excavator. I successfully maintained my composure, and fortunately, thanks to the other squad members, the conversation flowed smoothly. Then, we got to the main point.
Section Chief, did the higher-ups give any explanation about why this happened?
The white lizard. No, Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun nodded. First, the cause of the incident. The employees who barged in.
They said it was a human error, with the Tuesday talk show being assigned to both D Squad and L Squad at the same time.
It made sense that the assignment had felt rushed. It seems there was a mistake. The section chief continued his briefing.
L Squad began writing the medium, a postcard, to enter the Tuesday quiz show at a similar time to D Squad, but a 50-minute delay occurred as they left the company building during the process.
Did they go out to buy coffee for the rookie?
L Squad did have members who were particularly good at taking care of their teammates.
The two employees briefly looked bitter as they recalled the now-deceased L Squad, but quickly concealed their expressions.
Anyway, it seems it was transmitted at an odd time, and our squad happened to go in first.
Lee Jae-hyun answered briefly and continued the briefing. The next part, however, was the bombshell.
And the reclassification of the Tuesday quiz show to A class has not been acknowledged. The absence of another group to cross-verify the situation, and the relatively high initial survival rate of 43%, leaves it unproven whether the darkness was truly suitable for A-class classification.
What the hell are they talking about, when L Squad was wiped out?
The collector. The Dream Essence collector's liquid was gold. I've heard many times that gold signifies A-class.
While the liquid in the Dream Essence collector does have a concentration comparable to A-class, the possibility of extracting higher-class liquid from lower-class darkness in special circumstances cannot be ruled out. So, since the official company classification was D-class, no exception has been granted for the Tuesday quiz show.
In other words, the company's stance is, let's not escalate a situation caused by an error. Let's just quietly resolve it. Typical corporate behavior. They drive their employees mad, that's for sure.
This is unacceptable. We should go and talk to them directly.
Assistant manager, wait just a sec.
Supervisor Park asked in disbelief.
The higher-ups took all the A-class liquid, didn't they? And yet it's still ending as a D-class result?
No, that didn't happen. Separate compensation has been arranged.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. They're basically trying to keep us quiet by offering something in return. It's normal for a company to prepare some kind of hush money, unless they're utterly clueless. The only question was how much that compensation would be. I tried to avoid making eye contact with the lizard as I focused on Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun's. Not snout, but mouth.
Given the uniqueness of the situation and the verification of the Dream Essence collector's liquid color, they've agreed to acknowledge that it was an exploration comparable to A-class. Additional points will be awarded. For the successful clearance of the Tuesday quiz show, a one-time bonus of points equivalent to A-class will be awarded. 30,000 points per person.
Supervisor Park and Assistant Manager Yoon froze, as if struck by lightning. The basic point reward for A-class is 100,000 points. Assuming the points are divided among the number of people entering the darkness, with only 2 squads surviving, the estimate would have been under 17,000 points per person. But we just got nearly double that. And it didn't stop there.
And a separate incentive has been awarded to the employee who played a decisive role in clearing the darkness.
The lizard's head turned toward me.
An additional 10,000 points awarded to the top contributor. A total of 40,000 points will be granted to you.
I just filled 8% of the wish ticket in one go. I was almost in a daze. Am I disappointed that the A-class clearance didn't officially get recorded? No, it's actually better this way. There's no benefit in standing out and getting a super fast promotion in this world. What happens if expectations rise beyond reason? I'd surely be forced into even more difficult ghost stories. And the more I stand out, the harder it becomes to use the merch. Of course, there are special spaces and items that become accessible with a promotion, but priorities must not be mistaken. This is a world where one wrong move means death, and considering I was at death's door, I definitely don't want to go near A-class again. Looking at the points, it didn't feel like my efforts were wasted. Apparently, the others felt the same.
I think I just heard my resignation come 3 years earlier.
But soon they composed themselves and said to me,
Points aren't transferable, so this feels a bit awkward.
Right? Ro practically earned them all.
Honestly, even if transferring was possible, I don't think they would have given them to me for any reason. This isn't about character. These are people who got jobs in death zones to collect points for a wish ticket. For most members of the field exploration team, their points are something they would never give up. I'll make sure to keep this firmly in mind.
They really came through.
We immediately returned to the office and registered the points.
Kim Soleum accumulated points. 40,000 P.
I looked at the monitor. A 5-figure number. Honestly, it hit me differently.
Whew, I survived and I scored big points.
We should use the company card for a team dinner.
Without hesitation, I replied cheerfully.
I'm watching the rare sight of a lizard eating premium beef. I'm trying my best to look natural as I watch the perfectly cooked beef disappear into the lizard's mouth.
The squad leader's personality is a bit unique, but his skills are solid.
Yeah, you're really lucky to be in our squad.
It's almost certain I'm the only one seeing a lizard face. Having read about Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun physically destroying ghost stories a few times, I could understand why the team members were so favorable toward him. Anyway, ghost stories or not, the beef was delicious, and I found myself enjoying the dinner more than I expected. At least it's not uncomfortable. Once I get home, I'm going to watch 10 episodes of kids' cartoons and sleep with all the lights on. While I was planning this extreme bedtime routine, Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun, who had been eating green onion salad, suddenly asked,
Are you going to save the 40,000 points?
It was a natural question.
Oh, yes. I need to buy a wish ticket.
Wait a minute. This conversation pattern feels familiar. I retraced our previous conversation.
Is there perhaps another useful way to spend points?
Ah, so this is how I should have approached it. Now I think I'm starting to understand how to deal with the lizard squad leader. I felt a bit of relief as I asked in a more relaxed tone.
What would that be?
I didn't expect this to come up here. One of the main perks of being an employee at Personalized Equipment.
Personalized equipment.
It is a creepy company that throws field exploration team employees into terrifying ghost stories to extract potion concentrate. If you recklessly throw employees into high-level, extremely dangerous ghost stories, won't they all die and fail to extract the concentrate? To address this concern and make the progression of ghost stories more convenient, there's a setting where employees can obtain custom equipment that becomes more powerful as they are promoted. However, this isn't overly detailed. If they started breaking down the equipment into specific tiers and classifications, it would no longer be an internet ghost story but a massive game setting. To make it easier for anyone to participate in the storytelling, a more convenient system was added, customized personal equipment. Employees who have proven their usefulness can receive supernatural equipment. Of course, this doesn't mean that ordinary employees wield cartoonish superpowers. Just a slight boost in special abilities. Still, it's great that it even exists. I unintentionally looked at squad leader Lee Jae-hyun with hopeful eyes, but when I made eye contact with the lizard, I quickly lowered my gaze. I'm really not getting used to this.
Oh, can I make custom equipment? Could you explain it to me?
After asking 3 times, I finally got a detailed explanation. Still, it was fascinating. This is something I only knew bits and pieces about. The scattered mentions were now being organized and explained by the section chief.
Custom equipment can be made using specific ghost stories owned by the company.
Right. They'd use the ghost stories, of course.
Toy maker of the Cheerful Lab, Cuter E07. Kind Seed Kit, Cuter E99. The offering of the ritual, Cuter E404.
In my memory, these were the 3 ghost stories mentioned in connection with equipment creation by employees. Among them, the one most used by the field exploration team is...
It just so happens this is a ghost story that can only be used during moonlit nights.
While my squad members gladly accompanied me for the experience, I headed with the section chief to the annex next to the company building. Seizing the moment while the iron was hot, my superiors urged me to go now.
Oh, this place is where relatively safe and useful ghost stories are kept in isolation. The company usually calls these Twilight class.
Officially, these ghost stories are classified as E-class. However, simply calling them E-class doesn't quite fit the classification system. They're carefully selected useful ones.
Ro, you saw that radio on your first day, right? It's useful because it tells you your fortune for the day. It's similar to that.
After Assistant Manager Yoon scanned her employee ID, the first floor entrance to the annex revealed a staircase leading down, and as we descended the stairs, we found a dimly lit reception desk with a figure sitting behind it. The figure was peculiar, dressed entirely in black with a mask, sunglasses, and even a hat. Was this an employee?
Hello! We're Field Exploration Team's D Squad visiting for new recruit training. We're requesting access to Twilight Class Ghost Story number 99.
The dark figure gave Supervisor Park a brief, scrutinizing look before nodding. With a nod, they pressed a button on the desk, and one of the emergency doors behind them opened. Beyond that door was a corridor lined with countless other doors.
Don't open any other doors by mistake. Actually, they're probably locked, but let's not even touch the handles.
I nodded silently and began walking. Soon we stopped in front of the door, labeled 99, and Assistant Manager Yoon placed her employee ID on the reader. Moonlight was pouring into a greenhouse overgrown with weeds, and in the center a rusty machine stood bathed in moonlight.
Dark Exploration Records, Ghost Story. A ghost story featured in Daydream Inc. identification code, Cuter WE99. It treats objects as plants, extracting genetic information to crossbreed and sow them. Operates using moonlight as an energy source.
If you put 2 objects in, it mixes their traits to create a new item. This was the ghost story primarily used by the field exploration team for making custom equipment, and it certainly had the atmosphere of a ghost story.
This is the darkness our department almost exclusively uses. Does it cost points to use this?
Yes. For the Twilight class darkness stored in the annex, you have to pay a usage fee to activate them. By the way, this one costs 1,000 points per use.
Wait a minute. Isn't that a bit odd?
If it's equipment necessary for exploring ghost stories, shouldn't the company be subsidizing it instead of charging fees?
As hopeless as this company is, they should at least cover that. Right?
Oh, once you become a supervisor, you can use it for free twice a year.
Maybe I should have gotten promoted after all.